This will be the performance area. Borrow some of
Do
your
I need
guesses.
to relocate? Well, actually, let's.
Yeah. And since you guys are using cards for your thing, let's do this. I'm going to draw a couple cards for those of you online. So let's see. We'll start with Shugate. You are a 10. Achgate, you are 5. Yeshtuchta, you're a 2. And Tantech, if you're on the phone, you are a 1. Take a card, man.
Okay, should I draw them?
Oh,
Because I just kind of came there. Well, there's an extra card, so maybe you just draw. You need to draw? So you get 2. You had them together. Yeah, he did draw. 8. That's it,
so this will go around and then write your name by your number. And then you can hand your cards down back to me. It'll make sense. Purple pen around. Du den shot.
Kusue cards? What's that?
Oh, there's cooking.
Dawson?
They're in the box. Okay, so this is the order of your word for next. So getting ready for our presentations or language demonstrations. The way we are going to do this is you will stand up on this side of the room, and you can use anything except for something that plays the words, or you can read the words. So if you had pictures, that was fine. If you drew a picture, that's fine. If you wanted to write the words first, that's fine. As long as you're not using any kind of methods. And you're going to recite your 12 words. Then you're going to do a 3 to 5 minute presentation on something about Tlingit language and or culture. So we talked about a number of sources you can go to, tons of stuff out there. My preference is to see how language ties into it, but if you're not exactly sure, it's fine because we're still just getting started. I don't want to see stories being read in their entirety, and that takes up your 3 to 5 minutes. But if you wanted to bring a story in, give us the down and dirty quick summary, and then say something about it. That would be absolutely fine. So check out all the Downhauer books, Sergei Kahn, his texts, Frederica de Laguna, and Elizabeth Nyman and Jeff Lear. Those are all really good sources. There's tons of stories and other things that are out there, things that are on YouTube. The UAS has a whole series of recorded conversations that Alice Taft did, and they're magnificent. They're all trans, so you could just sort of talk about some of the concepts, some of the things that were going on, words that you recognize, things like that. So this is the order that we are going to go in. If anyone So the order we go in is Tanpech, Yesh, Tuch, Tla. Say your name for me again. Ditmavalba. Yetushitsin, Achgech, Yaweya, Sumik, Uski, Zakwesh, Dugit, Shkugech, Shubutin. So we'll start these on Wednesday. We'll go Wednesday and Thursday. We'll try and get through all of them, but we'll see. We got to sort of go a little bit rapid fire. 60 minutes, and So the thing is that we have to sort of put a cap on the presentations. I've had presentations have gone potlatch. We're not doing potlatch style presentations. We don't need to serve a meal as you get into the second portion of your presentation. So remember, it's just something just sort of, but then again, you shouldn't stand up and just do like 1 minute. So just practice a little bit, 3 to 5 minutes. Any questions? Okay. So what I'd like you guys to do is just go in your pairs. Or we've got a couple who are soloists. Yesh Uchka Tanpech has a sick baby today, so she won't be here. So let's go first. Okay.
Oh. Really playing Aztec. Okay. Who cards are it?
Say no, Nask.
Play, dusk, play, day, dusk.
Aztec nu. Sheikh. Get you.
Plague, Aztec, Nagu,
Ikuha.
Day, Geiju,
Plague. Aztec nu. Day. Get you.
Geilish. Day, Day 8 uur. Ach, eat Kuahan.
Oh, Dachun get you. Like, Aztec, Nagu.
Ja, goed luck.
Oh. Like, Geiju. Like, Aztec, Nagu.
Equa.
Oh, wait. Kushuk, Geiju. Like, Aztec, Nagu. This could go on for a while.
We can stop it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, Alright.
Should we move so they can see it?
Yeah, maybe let's put you guys in this.
Wasa iti
Wasa, Waekla.
yak e achturu segur ich wasitin
Dasa Ejiwu,
kaud ach jiru dasa ijiru
Kakain Achjiwu,
yak e awe achtur segur kakain ach jiru
Take handed Dana Achjiwu,
gla do did I skip that part?
Okay. How?
Juk
Put away.
Okay, Alright.
Grabs that.
Okay. See?
Yacht.
Goed.
Yak exwitini.
Handei, Jean.
Wasa iati.
Ach, Shan, Klech, Unek,
Yak
Wae, Kua.
Ishan khat. Aku yanik. Khat. Ken waha. La.
Klar, Ishan. Kechat Nanik, Shak Deya, At Ach Deshie, Iwunechi.
Gunaljish. Isteke.
Jou ach ast echt.
Gunaljish hachigudi.
Atleen Gunilchish, Zu Hade, Tutwabut.
Right. Let's see. Online. Shkuyes and then Kukcha and Achich. Yes, to each class, you guys have to go on Monday. Who wants to go? And Gavin H. Gage.
My Susie is homesick today.
Oh, okay. You guys can go on Monday as well.
Okay.
Sure, I can go.
Okay.
It sounds a little bit weird today. Okay, I'll go. Okay, this is just like picked from a conversation from George Ramos and Mark Chester. So I don't know, kind of random, but. And they're starting a conversation, and he's the younger guy is putting a microphone onto the elder. Ikach tude ye a gnaschi sha'in shikirnik a aya shukwanach agach ayas has achtini has agur saku adur sachat satiye awe ye aya I kachwalach tu.
Okay. There's Chief. Yeah, you guys should definitely check those conversations out. We'll watch one of them probably after you guys' incredible performances next week. Excellent. Have we got any questions before we move along? Okay, so let's try looking at kinship again. Great job, everybody. We're not okay.
Oh, sorry.
Let me get set up here to finish our charts. Okay, well the screen share button isn't working, so we'll take it to the board. We'll move the.
You put it on. You can do it
Well, I'm gonna go this way. The white way would probably be better, but. Okay. Okay. So going through these kinship terms, and grab the right here. It's so interesting. I keep thinking of this chart. I keep running it through some different drafts. But the first thing we had on the left side is we have independent pronouns. We went through all those. We went through the possessive pronouns. So the possessive pronouns we could substitute into these kinship terms. So it could be ach, ik, du. And let's see, how far did we get? We just did the pronouns, right? We got up to, okay, so we did kla, So we're going to say these with just the kinship term, but we keep in mind that we can substitute pronouns. So even though we'll say Tla, you would always have some pronoun. My, your, his or her. Okay. And then we got to and right? Is that far we get? We did. Huni. Ish. Sunny. Kani.
Do you think that claim is like a Western influence? Because you would say great grandparent?
I don't know, because it means like big. So you could just say sheesh for anything that's above their parents' generation, and it's really fun. And so, and then other ways you could say it is you could say akla du sheesh. You could say things like that. So it could be, like, trying to get something specific. So other things we keep, there's like no cousins, there's nothing like that. So you find from this realm of kinship terms, you find which one most suits that particular person. So going through, so we started getting to, so this is for a female, it's for a woman. So we've got, on the left side, we've got mother, which is Tla.
Tla.
And her brother, Ka. Ka. Her sister, Ka. Ka. And remember, it's not just blood, brother, or sister, it's just anyone in that same clan across that same generation. Going to your father's side, your father is Ish. Ish. His sister, Ot. Ot. And then his brothers, Sunny. Sunny. Your grandparents, which could be, so one thing that this kinship term is using is it's using a dashed line for a clan opposite and a solid line for the same clan. So I was making a couple changes before coming to class, and this could be either one, right? So it could be same clan, or it could be opposite clan. It could be your father's father, father's mother, mother's father, mother's mother. And this one is Sheesh, 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 Sheesh. Your mother's father is Dakanuku. Dakanuku. And then your great grandparents are Shishkutlain. Shishkutlain. The ones that are on the same clan as you would call them Khune. Khune. And then, if there was a bunch of them, Khunkiyan. 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 So that's an underline X, O-O-N, X apostrophe I, new word, Y, high tone A, N. There are two things that would pop up at the end of a kinship term that can pluralize. One is yan, the other is has. I don't know if there's a rule on which one you use. There's just ones that sound right. So you'd say, Akla has, Akab has, Akla has, Akish has, Akad has, Aksani has, Akhliku has. So all of those ones up there would be, they would throw a hus after it. And that's how you'd say my father's, my mother's, to pluralize. Then you've got on this side, your opposite clan is Connie.
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 And if you pluralize that, you have Connie Yun.
Connie Yan.
Connie Yun.
Connie Yan.
Okay, so as a female, I don't know if we got to the difference why the one difference between male and female comes with this little section we're going to do. And why would it be different? What do you guess?
The siblings or the children? Do you mean?
Yeah, so it really has to do with siblings. That's really the only real difference. So for a woman has older sisters, younger sisters, and brothers. And a male has older brothers, younger brothers, sisters. So a lot of this has to do with authority within the clan, who gets to sort of boss you around a little bit, and also who's in charge of helping to raise and to teach. And then if you're going to some sort of function and you guys are representing the clan, and if multiple people were going to speak, then it would usually go with the oldest last. So for a woman's older sister, Shet, 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 Shet. That's S-H, high-toned A, T, underline X. The younger sister. Oh. It's Keek, 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 Keek. So since this is our only difference, we're going to flip it over and fill this part out for the one that says ha on the other side. So here's the male, and he would have an older brother. And oh, sorry, let's go ahead and do the brother first. Flip it back over, stay on the woman's side. Eek, 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 eek. That is a woman's brother. Doesn't matter if older, younger, doesn't. Okay, so now going to the boy's side. For an older brother, we have hun, 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 hun. And a younger brother is the same as a woman's younger sister. Keek, 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 keek. Okay. So now, if the part that was getting me confused, that somebody helped clarify. So it's a matrilineal clan system. So that means if either of these two have children, if any of them, for a woman, if any of her female siblings have children, case, 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 case. That's a niece or nephew on the same moiety as you. So it's just dropping down a generation. Those ain't your kids. Case. That's what you would call them. It's also a really important term between people who are teaching somebody. So if somebody becomes somebody's teacher, even if they're both Raven side or they're both Eagle side, but different clans, they would still use this type of terminology to show that there's some sort of teaching-learning relationship going on. And then her brother, who would marry the opposite clan, Kosh,
Kosh,
kosh, kosh,
Kosh,
kosh.
Kosh.
Oh, I skipped one, didn't I? So a man's sister, a male sister, would be gla,
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 gla.
gla.
This one is D-L-A-A-K apostrophe. Backing up, this one is K, high tone E, I-L-K apostrophe. So now, the niece and nephew terms are the same. So if she had a child, what would that be?
Case.
Case. Because it's matrilineal, so they're the same clan, right? So a male's sister's children, or the children of the women who are of his same generation. Case,
Case,
case.
case,
And if his brothers have children, what those be?
Kosh,
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 kosh.
Kosh.
So what's most important is the clan relationship, not the personal sort of bloodline. So those are the things that, as I was making this chart, I kept going crazy. It's like, and drawing all these lines all over. Okay. So now, there's two different terms that a woman would use for her children. If they're a girl, who do I got on the list?
We have child and stuff.
Yeah, so we'll do these ones first. So the first one is S, high tone E, E, C,
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 and then the other one is, if it's a boy or a son, yeet,
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 yeet.
yeet.
And a man would use both of those terms as well, but it would also commonly use this term, Y, high tone A, D, I, yeti,
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 yeti.
yeti.
And this is still, like a woman would still use, she could use this term, but she would use it much less often and would use these direct son or daughter terms. The reason for that is because yeti is often used to talk about the child of a clan. So that's not just like this person's child, but let's say he's Kagwantan. And let's say that she's that means these children are also Banach Adi, and they're Kagwantan Yeti. So that Yeti is more commonly used, seems like, with males than females. Although if she's talking to all of her children, she'll probably say Yeti. That would be the situation where she might use it. Otherwise, she would most likely use the direct sort of son or daughter.
Is C and Yate or show what?
It's for either one of them.
Oh, okay.
Either one of them can use it.
Okay.
But she would be more likely to use this than Yeti, whereas the male would use all three. Ahi, Aksi, Ahi. Very okay? Any other questions?
And then there's grandchild.
Yeah, so then we go down to grandchild, and that almost gets us all the way up. So if your children have children, D-A-C-H, underline X, high toned A, N. Dachchan,
Dutch.
Dachchan,
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 Dachchan, Dachchen. And so this is like the grandparent term. The clan doesn't matter. It's just all about, the generational type of thing as well. Because Dachchen could be used, when Cyril George would come into our classes, that's what he'd call all the students, his grandchildren. Right? So it's also, this one, and Yeti and Dachchen are real terms of endearment as well. There's a lot of these kinship terms which we can also use to talk directly to somebody, right? Like the slight example would be, you could say, oh, well, my mom, I was telling you about my mom, but if I was talking to her, I might say, Mom, and those are slightly different. Or I might say, Mommy, Mama, right? So there's ones that we say directly to them, and that's when the pronoun usually falls off. Most of these kinship terms, if you said it directly to somebody, like for example, if you were talking about somebody, like say, oh yeah, well that's my uncle. And when you see him, you said, hey uncle. There's a different use, and it works in English as well, where you couldn't take the pronoun off unless you're talking directly to the person, right? Because you can say, well, I was talking to, well, okay, you could. If you're talking to someone else who, like if you're talking to your siblings, I was telling Mom this. Right. Anyways, okay, never mind. I failed on that. Okay, so we'll start with this one because it's fun. So if you were talking directly to your grandchild, CH, underline X, high tone A, N, K apostrophe. And I'll make sure that these are all up on Tlingit.info, following along with the class. Chunk, 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 grandchild, right? And so it's a real term of endearment. This K with the apostrophe at the end is a real term of endearment. And it could pop up on a lot of different things. For this one, if you were talking directly to them, you could throw the apostrophe K on there, although these vowels usually get shortened to I's. So let's just write it. S, high tone I, K apostrophe, Y, high tone I, K, T, K apostrophe. So if you're talking directly to your daughter, especially if you're trying to get their attention, or these really direct kinship terms, these are used a lot of times when you first see somebody. And if you see somebody, when we talk about these different conversational things, how to start a conversation. If it's someone that you have this kinship term with, you just say the kinship term. So as soon as you see him, yit,
Yit, yit,
yit,
yit,
sick,
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 sick.
and you could say seek or yeet. It's totally up to you. That shift from the long vowel to the short vowel is optional. Right? That's how I usually hear it. The only other ones that change. The mother is atle,
Atle,
atle, or atli,
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 A-T-L-E-I with a high tone over the first E, or A-T-L-E-E with a high tone over the first E.
Do you have the Family Guy clip?
Oh, I do. I'll have to show. I'll show it next week. There's a scene in Family Guy where he's like, Mom, Mama, Mommy. And I did it in Tlingit, and I put it up on YouTube, just this little clip. And within less than a minute, my YouTube account was shut down. So it was crazy. So I had to take it down. Well, I'll show it to you guys. It was fun. Okay, there's only a couple more here. So we go out to, let's say these two are married. It's getting complicated. So a woman's husband. So that under women, the bottom, very bottom right says spouse.
Oh.
And then if we flip that over for the man, and then underline X, high tone U, underline X. For a wife, that's SH, high toned A, T, shut, 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 shut. And so we keep in mind that we've got this long dash in front of it, which tells us there needs to be a pronoun there. And it's the same with body parts. Let's see. So we've got in-laws, mother, Chan,
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 and then the father-in-law's Wu,
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 Wu.
That's all the kinship terms.
That's
Oh, so sorry, this is mother-in-law. Yeah, for either.
okay.
On both sides. There's only three things that are different. Siblings, so older and younger siblings, and then husband as opposed to wife.
And then to the right of each person, it says clan in-law. Is that
The
still
same as
Connie?
Connie.
Yeah, so Connie, Huni, that Kate, Kosh, it's the same. And so I got to do another version of this so that some of the lines are clarified, just in terms of the father's children being the clan opposite, the mother's children being the same clan. But the lines are pretty, like a woman's sister's children are Kate, a woman's father's children are Kosh, a man's sister's children are Kate, and a man's brother's children are Kosh. Any questions? Everybody online? You guys okay?
Yes, these are the questions I've had because I actually in our little conversation that we are going to do was I was introducing my kids, so that's perfect.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And it also explains why Hans always says "seek" every time he sees me, because our namesakes. I'm his daughter.
Yeah, and so that namesake relationship it holds. So if you have a name and then somebody has a name and that person was your father, that's what you call that person who has that same name. So those are pretty important things in Tlingit, is that the kinship terms go across generations and they continue. And then you also have, and you have things, I know people who, like Nakeshan and Ben Dietrichson, when I visit with them, it's fun because from the clan relationship perspective, they are my grandparents and I am their grandparent. So it's kind of fun to call each other grandpa and grandchild. It's just really interchangeable. But these are really important because they help tie us together. They show the ways that we're tied together. This will help us transition next week as well. Well, probably the week after is when we'll get to the clans and how they're all structured as far as clan migrations go. At least a theory on how they're structured. Clan migrations and then also clan groups. It's a lot of fun to look at that and then to see how the language plays a role in defining how those clans are named, what those names mean, how they've sort of been born out of one another, and how there are these huge migrations that you can track through the clan histories. It's a lot of fun and it's good knowledge to have in knowing how to spell these clans and pronounce these clans. As language shifts, things that you've got to hold on to is the proper way to pronounce things. So we've talked about the claw versus claw, we talked about gla versus law, and then we're going to get into clan names as well. And it's really important that because these names mean something. But if you start to shift the way that the sounds come out to a more English-speaking population, then you can really. And I think that's happened with a lot of personal names. Although names don't always mean things, so your name could just be your name, but it could mean something. So that's the plan. Monday and Tuesday, you guys will have sup. You guys have fun. It'll be awesome. And I mean it this time. When I say we have sup, that's up. I'll be in.
Yeah, show up on time to the airport.
I was on time. They were mean to me. And yeah, be in Sitka tomorrow for Wyoming on Sunday. All right, there's Cheech. Good check, yeah. Oh, the camera's over there. Never mind. And you guys that didn't go today, you can go on Monday. We'll start with your guys' conversations.